Okay, so you know that song Dum Maro Dum? Like, everybody knows it, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's a total classic. Like, you hear it at parties, and everybody just starts going crazy.
Yeah, it's huge.
But I was watching this video. It's from this YouTube channel, Soothing Lo-Fi Tracks.
Mm.
And they do these breakdowns of, like, famous Bollywood songs.
Oh, cool.
And so I was watching the one about Dum Maro Dum, and I was like, wait a minute. This is a remake.
Right.
Like, I had no idea.
It's kind of surprising how many people don't realize that.
Yeah. So anyway, I thought it'd be super interesting to, like, dig into this whole thing.
Yeah.
And, like, learn about, like, how it evolved, you know, from the original to the remake.
Definitely.
So let's start with the remake, the 2011 version. So Anushka Manchanda is the singer.
It's an incredible voice.
And Preenam did the music. And, the lyrics are by Jaideep Sahni.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting about the remake is that it was like really going for a different vibe than the original.
Okay, so how so?
Well, they were making it for like Deepika Padukone's big dance number in the movie. So it's got that like really edgy, almost like grunge sound.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And even the choreography was super intense. Like they wanted it to be this huge spectacle.
Oh, and speaking of the choreography, the video actually mentions that Bosco Caesar, who did the choreography.
Oh, yeah, they're amazing.
They actually designed the moves to like match the boldness of the song.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And Deepika Padukone, like, she apparently spent days, like, just practicing those moves.
Wow.
Which is pretty clear when you see it. Like, she is amazing.
Oh, yeah, for sure. But before we get too carried away talking about the remake, we should probably rewind a bit and talk about the original.
Okay, so take us back.
All right, so picture it. 1971, Hare Rama Hare Krishna comes out.
Oh, wow.
And there's this song, Dum Maro Dum. Asha Bhosle is singing it.
It's legendary.
Totally. And it just becomes this like massive cultural phenomenon.
Well, I bet.
It's like this anthem. And like knowing that context, I think, is really important when we start talking about the remake.
Yeah, because, I mean, you're talking about like remaking a song that was like a cultural phenomenon.
Exactly.
So there were bound to be some strong opinions.
Right.
Yeah, and like, I mean, even beyond just the fact that it was a remake pre-Tam, like, he really like made some big changes to the sound.
Yeah, he did.
Like he brought in like elements of rock music. Like you hear like distorted guitars and a much heavier drum beat than you'd normally hear in Bollywood music.
Yeah, it's super interesting how he kind of like blended those genres together.
Yeah, and that's where that grunge vibe that you were talking about comes from.
Totally. And I think that was probably a big part of why it was so controversial.
Yeah, I mean, it's so different from that orchestral psychedelic sound of the original.
Oh, right. And it's not just the music. I mean, the lyrics were updated too.
Right.
So yeah, like a lot of people felt like it wasn't really true to the spirit of the original.
But on the other hand, it was also like super popular.
Oh yeah, especially with younger audiences.
Yeah, like it became like the party anthem.
It's really interesting how it kind of captured this new energy, you know?
Yeah, like a new spirit of rebellion.
Right, like maybe the younger generation, they weren't as familiar with the original or they weren't as attached to it, so the changes didn't bother them as much.
That's a good point.
Well,
I guess next time I'm at a party and Dum Maro Dum comes on, I would be looking at everybody like...
Like you know the whole history.
Exactly.
You'll be the most informed person on the dance floor.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the big question here is like, is the 2011 Dum Maro Dum like a good remake?
Yeah, it's tough to say.
Like, is it a successful homage or is it like, you know, a creative misstep?
I think that's for each person to decide.
Yeah, I think so too. It's like, how much freedom should artists have when they're reinterpreting like a classic song?
Right. It's a tricky balance.
It is. But I mean, regardless of what you think about the remake, I think this whole deep dive has given me a new appreciation for both versions of the song.
Yeah, me too. And I think it shows how music can like reflect cultural shifts and sometimes even like challenge the culture.
Yeah, so we definitely encourage everyone listening to like check out both versions of Dum Maro Dum.
Yeah, do your own deep dive.
And like see what you think, like which one speaks to you more.
You might even discover a new favorite.
Yeah. You never know.